Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going to talk about supply, why it's so important to the emotional abuser, what your role was, the games that they play and why they need it. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Elizabeth Goddard from Revive Your Soul. I help you untangle from the invisible chains that keep you trapped at the end of an emotionally abusive relationship. If you're new here, please like and subscribe, and if you hit the little tiny bell at the side, you'll be notified each time I upload a video. And if you're returning, thank you and welcome back. The emotional abuser is empty and they need supply to top them up to keep them going. It energizes them. When you think about an electric car or maybe a vacuum cleaner that needs recharging, you drive it around for the day or you use it to clean up, and then you put it back on the charger. This is what the emotional abuser needs throughout the day. They need the attention and supply from other people to keep them going. It's why they surround themselves with people. And there are various different types of supply, various different grades. Their energy comes from different sources. It can be from words, it can be from actions, it can be from inactions, as long as there's an emotion attached to it. They plug into people, they drain them of their energy, and once they've used them and there's nothing left, they move on. They don't really care where the supply comes from, where this attention comes from, as long as the focus is on them. They actually hunted you down during the love bombing stage and to check out what your level of supply was, the quality of supply was going to be. But they can get supply from anyone and everyone. If you've been discarded by an emotional abuser, it's likely the quality of your supply was weaker or not up to the standard it had been at the beginning of the relationship. They had broken down your boundaries and they had manipulated you. And you're now possibly at the point where you've got nothing left. They've drained you emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, and they've probably drained you financially. They cause chaos in your life and then they walk away without a backward glance. They've left you to pick up the pieces. And of course they go off and play victim, which is another source of supply for them. And they might have started to lay the groundwork for before their departure. So it makes it so much easier when they leave to the people that surround them to understand why, and also to boost them up and supply them again with the energy they need, the attention that they need. And one of the reasons it's so important to go no contact or grey rock is because your reaction, your emotion is a supply to them. And I'm going to touch on that in a minute. I've talked a few times about this being a game, this relationship was a game. And I've got a few chess pieces to demonstrate exactly how supply works and how they move on. So this is the king representing the emotional abuser, the most important chess piece on the board. And this is the queen, who represents their main source of supply. This is where they get their attention, and during the love bombing, during the idealization, they were questioning and finding out the quality that the queen is going to give them. When that supply runs out, they can quite easily exchange and swap over the pieces. You're left in pieces when somebody else takes over, steps in your shoes, steps in and starts living the life that you were creating with them. So the king will have, or your emotional abuser will have, other people, other sources of supply. So here we've got the rook. The rook is one of the higher value pieces. This might be somebody at work. It might represent another love interest. It's somebody who's got a higher value, not as high as the Queen, but a higher value to them. These are their entourage. These are their flying monkeys, the people that do their bidding, the people that run round after them and tell them how great and amazing they are. And they have other people that they turn to. So this is the Knight. The Knight isn't as valuable as the Rook or the Queen, but it does play a role. So this could be, again, somebody at work or somebody within the family, but it's not as valuable. And we have the Bishop. The Bishop and the Knight have got the same value. This could be people that they're in contact with, either on the way to work maybe, or it might be their hairdresser. And then at the lower end of the scale, we've got the Pawn, who is, I think its value is 1. But again, there is something in it for them. There's some form of attention, and they keep these maybe on the edge of their friendship circles. As the Queen, you would have been their primary source of supply, and then they drained you and they swapped you for somebody else. During the idealization stage, they were able to understand, and this would have been based on other people that they've had relationships with, to what quality you could give them. They would have read you, they would have questioned you, they would have understood how you react to situations, how you cope with situations, what you're willing to do for other people, and what you put up with in other relationships. They will find all of that out because it's part of their process of analysing and assessing how long you'll be in their life. And there's another type of fuel that they get from you, and this is from knowing you. So when they go no contact themselves, when they disappear, when they discard you, the work that they put in helps them understand how you're going to react. So when they think about it, they're visualising your reaction, and that is feeding them. It's like a proxy, it's by proxy. So they don't have to be with you, they know enough about you to know how you're going to respond. They get enough fuel knowing that you're sitting at home worrying. But visualising and thinking about what they've done and what control they've got over you, that fuel isn't as powerful as actually being with you. And so they get bored of waiting around for a reaction. And this is why going no contact, doing the grey rock, is so important. Because not only doing it for yourself, for your sanity, to clear your head and clear your mind, they actually get really bored and they move on quite quickly. So if you interrupt that process, if you break that contact, maybe you leave a voice message for them or send them a passionate text or email, you're actually feeding, you're giving them fuel, and they can hear through your voice or they can read through the emotion within the message just how much you're missing them. They can feel that pain, that emotion coming through. And even if it's angry, they don't really care because they know they've invoked an emotion within you. By going no contact, you're cutting off that supply. You're literally severing the connection. They're not able to validate themselves, so they need to look outside for that validation. They have no identity and they don't really like the people that they are. This is why they create the characters, the personas, and wear a mask. They have this innate ability to believe the words that come out of their mouth, and they believe them then to be true. So where are you now in the supply chain? You were their queen, you were their primary supply, and then they've replaced you. They've put in another queen in place. Going no contact or grey rock is going to help you and your healing process, help you come to terms and break free of the chains that they have, these invisible chains they've tied you up in. I hope you can understand the role that you were playing, and by giving them attention still, it's still feeding them. You're feeding that monster within. I work with people on a one-to-one basis, helping them untangle from the trauma bonds, helping them untangle from these invisible chains that hold them, help them answer the questions that keep repeating over and over. And I do that because I was in that place for a long time, believing it was all my fault, believing the lies. I had so many questions. So if that's something that you'd like to find out more about, please either contact me on my website, reviveyoursoul.co.uk, or you can email me at info@reviveyoursoul.co.uk. I'm sending you loads and loads and loads of love.